Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
So I think we're going to be of different minds of this one. We both love Boy Meets World. We're doing this because we're at the 30-year anniversary of Boy Meets World debuting.
That's absolutely wild.
I mean, the Pod Meets World podcast, which I've actually never listened to, is like one of the biggest shows in the world right now as well.
Hands down.
I do want to check it out. I think I got
okay.
really burned out by the Scrubs podcast over time. And I was like, oh God, another like stars of the movie of the show talking about the show. But I was
and
actually.
Do you feel inclined? I think you did this with Scrubs, but do you feel inclined to watch the episodes with them, like watch them right before they talk about it?
I did up until a certain point, and then Scrubs got so bad at releasing stuff in a timely fashion that I was just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to finish this my rewatch and have it mostly fresh in my head.
That makes sense.
Now, what I am interested in the Pod Meets World stuff is like my buddy was telling me, he's like, they put out 2 episodes a week. The one episode is like a recap of whatever episode he goes, but then the second episode is a lot more like a behind-the-scenes interview style with the cast members. I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll subscribe because I want to hear those stories.
That would be fun. Yeah,
like that seems way more interesting. My thing is I have a real love-hate with season 1 of Boy Meets World.
Okay.
I think that if the show kept the energy that was built in season 1, it would not be the beloved TV show that we know today. Okay. I think that a lot of what, at least for me, that I connect to with Boy Meets World is when like Corey becomes a huge nerd. It's not a show about like how cool Corey is, or like when Topanga's not like a weird hippie, and like when Eric's way dumber. You know what I mean? Like I think that those are like what gave me the most memorable moments of Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
Also, the first Boy Meets World theme song fucking sucks, and it is so long.
What is that?
Yeah, it's like 90 seconds long. It is the longest theme song I've ever fucking seen. But that isn't to say that I don't find some of the jokes funny. I do. I think that there's good. I think this is a good episode of season 1 of Boy Meets World, but I feel like it's like this ain't my Boy Meets World though. Like my favorite era of Boy Meets World is controversially the college years, like season 6 and 7. It gets so weird. Like that's like where you get like plays with squirrels. There's an episode where Corey travels back in time to the 50s. Like it just has a lot of fun that like. And, you know, we did like the Family Matters. I think it's the same vibe in a lot of sense. Like Family Matters was like, here's a very sincere like dramedy about like a black family just trying to make ends meet. And like at the end of the day, family matters more than anything, hence the name. And then like Boy Meets World, it's like same vibe. It's like, let's just do a show about a cool ass kid in Philadelphia. And it's like, you know what? It's way better if he is a dork who is just lucky that he has a smoke show girlfriend and like the cool best friend. Like if not for those two things, this would be like a very boring show to watch of just like a dorky kid just being dorky all the time. All that is to say though, there are some great moments. Now, you've had us watch a Boy Meets World episode before. I think you and I have talked about this, and I was thinking about this when I was watching this. If I could go back in time to the first like 10 episodes of our podcast, one thing that I would have vetoed was doing all of the community Christmas episodes 100%. In a single episode. 100%. I was like, man, we really hurt ourselves on that because man, those were 3 home runs that we did in a single episode that would have been
really
more fun.
Unfortunate, but we were learning.
We were learning along the way. Also, I was like, God damn, why did we agree to watch like 90 minutes of television to try to talk about in a 40-minute episode or whatever? But those are some that I think we'll have to revisit those. I think we need to give at least 1 or 2 of that. Like the Abed's Magical Christmas is a really full episode. I'm glad that we're doing the Boy Meets World ones the correct way. By like of doing them in individual pieces. And I like that we're jumping around because this is a very different Christmas episode than the later one that you watched, which I think that was season 3 or 4.
Yes. They had been dating for a while. Topanga's parents go to Pittsburgh for Christmas, I believe. Or they don't go to Pittsburgh. They go on vacation. I don't know where the fuck
Yeah,
they go.
I'm trying to think. I'm looking right now. How many?
I think there's 3.
We also have to. We've only done one Simpsons one, which we need to fix that because there's some really, truly great Simpsons ones. But okay, so there's season 1, season 3, Train of Fools. Season
that's more of a New Year's episode.
probably season 5, A Very Topanga Christmas. That's the one we watched. Season 4 also has Easy Street, which is when Corey finds a job at a restaurant owned by the mafia.
Yep. That's the other one that I consider a Christmas episode.
And then there's season 6, Santa's Little Helpers. This one is called Santa's Little Helper. In this one, there are 2 storylines. The main plot goes around Corey ruining Sean's relationship with Angela, and the secondary plot talks about Eric befriending an orphan child named Tommy.
Eric wants to adopt Tommy.
Yeah.
Damn.
We got to do that one. That is a good-ass episode.
So sad. That episode makes me so fucking sad. All right, but we're not talking about that.
We're not talking about those. We're talking about where it all began.
First season of Boy Meets World.
But I wanted to call back when we did episode 4, because episode 4 ends with Mr. Feeney reading them the Christmas Carol, and this episode starts with Mr. Feeney reading them the Christmas Carol.
It does.
And I love that symmetry, even though there's no one named Carol anywhere in
there's not anyone
in
named
the story.
Carol. I like the first season of Boy Meets World.
Okay.
A lot. The first season of Boy Meets World feels like a nostalgia dump to me. Like, I feel like this is how I grew up. Like, this is I remember these things in my household. I remember wearing the same things that these kids are wearing.
I guess for me, season 1 is weird in so many ways because it feels like it's a season that barely gets acknowledged by even the show. Like the show doesn't acknowledge, as far as the show's concerned, Corey and Topanga have been dating since they were kids, and it's like it is best for us. Yeah, it's like it's best for us to not remember that she was like a weird hippie child. Through the first season, and Morgan just changes. Which is funny. I forgot about this, but both actresses who play Morgan show up in different episodes of Girl Meets World as Morgan 1, Morgan 2.
That's so
which
funny.
is so funny. And I know she's a child actor, and I think she got better at acting as she got older.
Yeah.
But holy shit, the actress playing Morgan, I think her version of I'm acting is just to scream every line of dialogue at the top of her lungs. It was so infuriating. Like, I get it when she's like afraid of Santa stuff, but it would be like any single question, conversation. She's just yelling it like this.
So, I don't think I have a favorite season of Boy Meets World. I think I just love Boy Meets World. Even with the first season, it's definitely an outlier, but I do really enjoy this episode a lot. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Mr. Feeney is one of the reasons I became a teacher. Did I ever tell you the meeting William Daniels story?
I don't think you have, but that doesn't shock me. You are a very Mr. Feeney man. But again, I think of you as Mr. Feeney in the later seasons. I think that season 1, he's a bit of a grump.
He is a bit of a grump. But when I met William Daniels, this is so funny. I got a bag from Caroline County Public Schools signed. It was like a tote bag. And I was like, this will be cool. I can get this framed up. So I met William Daniels and his wife, who plays the dean of the college in the later season.
Yeah.
So I had them both sign it because I was like, you were both in education in the show. Please sign this. So she signs it. She's, oh my God, thank you for getting my signature as well. Like, that's awesome. And then he signs it. And he signs Will Daniels, a.k.a. Kit. His wife looks at him and goes, dear, I think he wanted you to sign it as Mr. Feeney. He said that he told you that he's a school teacher. So under Kit, he goes, Mr. Feeney. And I got my picture with them, and it was awesome. But it was just a cool moment because you kind of forget that William Daniels is like 96. Like,
Yeah. So
he's up there. He was old in the first season of Boy
He's old in
Meets
the first
World.
season. So second season, here's the thing. I've watched a shit ton of Boy Meets World. I feel like Boy Meets World really starts to hit its stride around season 3 or 4. But season 2, there is an episode that my brother and I talk about that is like, it's the first time that we feel like we see what became Boy Meets World humor to us. And it's an episode called Band on the Run. I'm not sure if you remember this episode, but it's when
You have to describe it. I've
Corey
seen
and
every
Sean,
episode multiple
Corey
times.
and Sean pick up 2 guitar cases, and everybody thinks that they're in a band.
Yep.
And then they get hired to play like the school dance or whatever.
I remember this.
But George Feeney, Mr. Feeney, is like, well, if that doesn't work out, we have this live concert of this Jamaican band that I saw on my cruise last summer.
Yeah.
And at the end of the episode, they're playing the tape, and it's like, oh, Sean and Corey go up on stage, and they have no clue what to do, so they just start strumming the guitar and doing the name song, the like banana fana fo fana.
Fana. Yep.
So then they're like, just play the tape, and they play the tape, and it's like reggae music, and it's this Jamaican accent essentially just being like, we're going to play the name game. He's like, hey, you in the back with the mustache. What's your name? And he just goes, George Feeney. Like, real loud. And my brother and I think about that. Like, that is, to me, the first, like, what I think of as classic Boy Meets World humor.
It's very, whoa!
Yeah. Who?
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Sing it again, Topanga!
Now, there is, I will say, great visual joke in this episode early on. And I was impressed by this because it's all show, no tell in the joke.
Yes.
Which is not normal for a kids or family show.
No.
Is Alan trying to get the lights to work on the fireplace, and you see all of the lights in the house brightly lit, and it's like he plugs them in, and then all of the lights flash a couple times, and then everything goes out.
Yep.
And like he doesn't even do like like he does nothing to, if you aren't paying attention to the background of the joke, there is no joke that you have seen.
No.
Like it's such a good visual gag. And then we get the Morgan is afraid of Santa Claus.
I think that I don't give a fuck about the A storyline in this episode.
Oh, with the Corey and Sean, it's all about the Santa Claus thing.
Yeah, I know that you're not a big fan of Morgan, but this B storyline is one of my favorite things in all of Boy Meets World.
This storyline is great. I just think that she gets on my nerves. Not when she's afraid of Santa. When she goes screaming upstairs, the story, I love that he grabs his chest and yells Rudolph before passing out.
Fucking funny. Yeah. Yeah, we talked to him and he went, ho, ho, oh!
Yeah, that's a great joke from Eric. Like, they get a lot of mileage out of this. I love the angry mobster elf who's just like every Italian mob stereotype.
Yeah.
He's like, bada bing, bada boom. What would you decide? Like, he's just such a douche.
Yeah. All I know is 1 minute he's alive. She sits on his lap. Bada bing, bada boom. Down.
Yeah. Now, I also think that not only is this elf a piece of shit, Minkus is kind of a real piece of shit this episode, and I don't really associate Minkus in my memories as being a douchebag, but he's like really dropping the hammer on Sean Hunter here, where it's like, clearly this dude doesn't got the $5. Why are you being so obtuse to this information?
Because and it's not like, it's like you said, it's not like he's being secret about it. Like, I don't have the fucking money, dude. Like, what do you want from me? Well, I'm not going to be able to put his name on the card. Well, then fucking don't, dog. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Do you think you threatening me with that is going to make me have the $5?
But Minkus does, there's 2 moments that got me a little choked up. And one of them comes from Minkus, actually. So we'll very quickly cover the A storyline. Sean's
Yeah,
father
go for
gets
it.
laid off. He doesn't have money. Corey finds out. He tries to give Sean a gift. Sean sees right through it as charity. They stop talking. Meanwhile, Minkus is collecting $5 from every student for the present for like the class present. Which, side note, you ain't need $5 from the entire 6th grade to buy a goddamn dictionary, Minkus. Like Minkus is
Also,
pocketing some money.
Side note to the side note: no teacher wants a dictionary for Christmas.
None. Not
I
at
just
all.
want to put that out there. His reaction to getting the dictionary is very accurate to what my reaction would have been if I received a dictionary.
A dictionary.
A dictionary. Thank you. I
Yeah.
will treasure this.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? What the hell? Give me a coffee mug or something.
He picks up, I do love that he picks up the bag and he goes, oh, it feels like it might be a book of some sort.
Yeah.
And Minkus goes, oh, you cunning bibliophile. But
Yeah, get your teachers a book, but not a dictionary.
Not a
Not
dictionary.
a thesaurus either.
It is mind-blowing
And heartbreaking.
how many original scripts are written every year but are never made.
So we seek out these scripts and bring them to life with full audio production and professional actors.
Check us out at Undiscovered Scripts,
Movies made of paper.
wherever you get your podcasts.
Free.
Sean is like, I don't have the money. I'm not going to have the money in time. And Minkus is like, well, then I can't put your name on the card. They could subpoena my diaries. I'm an elected official. And then Corey goes up and is like, look, he doesn't have the money because I borrowed $5 from him and never paid him back. I'm going to give you the $5. Make sure that name gets on the card. The part that made me choke up a little bit is after Sean talks to Minkus about, I can't believe you put my name on the card. And he's like, well, Corey told me that like he was the reason why you couldn't pay and he paid and blah, blah, blah. And Sean says Merry Christmas to Minkus.
Yeah.
And the fact that they had Minkus stop and he goes, really? Like it's so sad. Yeah. It's so like it could have easily just been Sean says Merry Christmas and like Minkus just turns around and is like Merry Christmas to you too or whatever. But the fact that he is like so floored that Sean would even stoop as low as to wish him a Merry Christmas fucking shattered my heart on this watch.
I feel like, and this is very close to how kids actually behave and act. I feel like Sean and Corey don't hate Minkus.
No.
Like he's just an easy target. Like he's
Look,
just,
I've talked about this before with Daria. The thing that I loved about Daria is that in a lesser show, Daria would be consistently bullied.
Yeah.
And like when you really sit down and watch the show Daria, she's definitely an outcast. She has her like 2 or 3 friends, but like even the jocks and the other like honor roll students like admire her because she's an individual and they like respect that about her. And that is so much more true to what high school is for most people. I am not going to say that it's for all people. We obviously have had plenty of horrible circumstances that prove that is not always the case. But across the board, most kids don't bully the nerds or the weird kids. They just don't. Like when I rewatched. Me and my girlfriend were rewatching a bunch of '90s teen flicks, and like watching something like Never Been Kissed, where it's like the popular kids are so vindictively mean to the smart kids. It's like that set me up for absolute failure when I started to go into high school because that's what I was really prepared for, and it's like that is not. Like, no one gives a shit, but especially by, like, junior year, everyone's just focused on graduating and getting the fuck out of high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but what I was saying, and it kind of goes to the flip side that you were talking about, I think Minkus does feel like Sean and Corey hate him.
Oh,
and
I'm sure he does.
Think that's the thing, is, like, it's such a good insight into a kid's mind where to them, like to Corey and Sean, they're just messing around and yeah, dude, Merry Christmas, Minkus. Like, the fuck? Why would I not say Merry Christmas to you?
Yeah.
And Minkus is like, really? Like, you kind of treat me like a piece of shit every second you get. But it's a great moment. I do wish we got more Minkus throughout the series.
We get,
but I feel like he doesn't. We do get his comeback.
His comeback in season 4.
Mr. Turner, like
He also is
And
a
then he shows
main
up
character in
yeah.
Girl Meets World. He's like
Yeah.
he's like a series regular on Girl Meets World.
That's right, because they,
His son is Farkas Minkus.
And that's when they all treat him really weird because he might be autistic, and
Yeah.
then cheer the fact that he doesn't have autism,
Yeah.
which is a really weird choice. Disney
Really,
made.
really weird episode on that one, Disney. Also because he almost definitely has autism.
Oh, 100%.
Like, let's
100%.
Let's
but
be clear.
again,
I just had a conversation with someone
who
about
fucking
Harry
cares? Like,
Potter.
just-
We were
yeah.
talking about because there's a podcast that I really enjoy that's actually local to me called the Pottership Podcast. So here's a quick free advertisement for the Pottership Podcast.
Yeah.
What they do, I think at least 2 of them are librarians, but they're all like hardcore Harry Potter fans. They've read the books a million times, and what they do with their show is that it's not necessarily a shipping podcast where it's like, let's imagine a world where Harry and Draco fuck, but it'll be like Harry and
that's
Draco.
the podcast I want to listen to.
Yeah, it's like Harry and let's say it would be like Harry and Draco after high school, and it's like, what was the relationship with these characters after that? We see them not friendly as they graduate, but then they acknowledge each other at the train station in the epilogue.
Hold on. Is this what is their relationship after high school if the shit wasn't as serious as it was? Or is this their relationship after high school by also they have partaken in a war against Nazis that Draco may have been a part of?
So it's focusing
it's
focusing on the idea of based on the jobs that we are told that they have had as adults, these 2 men have to interact with each other.
Yeah.
What do those interactions look like? It's very much like looking at that stuff. But I was telling someone about the show, and she was like, it would be a good topic, but it would be kind of a divergent from, it would be kind of petering away from that. But she's like, I would love to hear a podcast about trying to diagnose Neville Longbottom. Oh. And she's like, because everything about him screams that he's neurodivergent. He's forgetful. He's got so much trauma in his life. He doesn't have a lot of emotional support. And she's like, and she was speaking as herself being neurodivergent. She's like, I connect with his character so much because I see so much.
She sees herself. Yeah,
she sees herself in it. And it's like, I was like, man, I would love. I think that there could be a really powerful podcast. And look, if someone else feels more, anybody else but me to host it, but I will happily produce it. But a show, like we said, there's so many shows. There's so many TV shows that we grew up with that paint it having any type of autism, ADD, OCD in a horrible way. Doing a show that essentially diagnoses various fictional characters with these are traits that these characters have that make them great and special that fall into the category of being on a spectrum. You know what I mean? And it's I was like, I would listen to the shit out of that show.
It really just felt like that Girl Meets World episode was so out of touch. Because,
very much. When Girl Meets World, after season 1, Girl Meets World is actually a pretty good show, but damn, that episode stands out like a sore thumb. It's
really
a problem.
Weird. It's so out of touch for when it came out. We're not talking about a show that came out in the 90s.
Yeah, this is less than 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. But back to what we're talking about, that section with Minkus, and I do like the way that the Sean and Corey stuff ends. I just feel like the way that storyline was handled was very this is how these things would go in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's not. I don't think that's the way that would have gone. I'm curious as to if someone of Sean's age and of Sean's behavior would have even been cognizant that his dad got laid off. Yes.
I don't think I fully got it when my dad did. I remember when my dad got laid off when I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
I just was like, oh, dad's home more often.
Yeah.
That was
I think that would be more of it.
Yeah. I think they even sat me down and explained to me what happened, but I was like in 5th or 6th, not even. I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. Like I didn't know what that meant. I just meant, oh, cool, Dad's here. We can play video games. You know what I mean? Like that was like all that meant to me.
And I think they're in 4th.
No, I think they're in one of these weird fucking. I think they're technically in 6th grade in season 1, and then it gets at some point it gets like flipped that they're in 7th grade in this season to make the timeline make sense. Because they're at one of those schools where it's like there is no middle school, or middle school is like 4th, 5th, 6th, and then it's basically like 7th grade to 12th because they're just there the whole time. They never change schools at that point.
That's true. Yeah.
But they don't go to college until season 5 or 6.
Yeah, but they call it John Adams High.
Yeah.
Because welcome to John Adams High.
Yeah.
Where you are gonna die.
Yeah, but that's their senior year, so they can get away with it by then.
Yeah.
All right. Season 5, yeah. Whatever. Or maybe they're in 7th, about to go into 8th. I don't know. It's something.
Boy
whatever.
Meets World timeline versus Texas Chainsaw timeline.
Yeah,
Which one's more convoluted?
They're all broken. There's only one other person we really need to talk about, and he's the man who signed your autograph as Kit. Mr. Feeney shows up and he saves the day in both plot A and plot B.
Yes.
With plot A, a piece of advice that I completely forgot about from Mr. Feeney, when he's talking to Corey outside and he says, you know, my favorite part of Christmas is getting to look back at the year and appreciate all the true gifts that you had received. And I was like, whew. Like he said that, me repeating it, I got a little misty-eyed.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that is some great advice, actually. Because as much as we do this show, and we talk about like, hey, man, I don't care. I'm almost 40. I still fucking love opening up some presents underneath the Christmas tree.
Presents.
But it is like the memories of spending time with family and friends and partying and all of that stuff. And then Mr. Feeney saves the Santa Claus situation as well. But motherfucker couldn't even be bothered to put the beard over his goddamn
that shit
face.
Is so funny. When this is definitely a different Feeney than you get in later seasons. But when he's at the fucking door looking miserable in his Santa costume.
So over it. Yeah.
So funny. And I do love Morgan's line of, I'm not opening any more doors.
Yeah.
And when Corey forgets his line, it's the only moment in this entire episode where Corey is involved with that plot B storyline. I do love that. I forgot my line. Oh, who's at the door? So I prefer this version of Eric. I like not dumb Eric.
I don't like dumb Eric. I think that dumb Eric gave us some great moments. Iconic
dumb Eric
moments.
gave us some phenomenal moments.
Yeah, like,
but
he also gave us some insightful moments. Like, I think that's why people connect with the Plays with Squirrels thing. Yeah. Like that episode, which is a lot of people forget. That's like almost the end of the show.
That is, yeah, because they hate each other. This was that group of episodes is so weird. Like,
it's like lose one friend, lose all friends, lose everything. Like,
and that all stemmed from the prank war.
The prank war episode is classic though, until it gets too mean.
It's so wild,
but it's so good.
So
they're when Eric's hiding inside a giant painting of American Gothic, watching the situation. It's so. That's what I mean.
Sneak attack, and is that the bloopers during the credits where Eric has hidden himself in the couch?
Yep.
And they're like, you gotta get up.
Yeah, there's just a lot of good. God. I like that you can actually pinpoint. When I was doing, I very briefly did a podcast called the Playing with Squirrels podcast where I was watching and reviewing every episode of Boy Meets World. Yeah. And I got to season 2 and I was like, this is a lot of work with little reward, and I'm not like loving it the way I want it to. I just want to enjoy the show. But I was trying to track when does the switch flip for Eric?
Yeah.
And I think I remember that there's like an episode towards the very end of season 2 where he gets like struck by lightning or something. Yeah. And I'm wondering if that's like low key the switch, because by season 3 he's like full blown like crazy dumb Eric.
I liked unemployed Eric that would sit on the couch.
But that's still dumb Eric to me, because that's when he's
dumb
imagining being the good looking guy, a superhero.
Good looking guy.
Book 'em good
When
looking.
a crime breaks out, all the cool girls shout. There's
for the
a
good-looking
guy. I think that Boy
when there's
Meets
a
World
crime
is
over
one of-
there, he's got to comb his hair because he's a good-looking guy.
Good-looking guy. This show is fucking phenomenal.
That's what I
love
mean.
Boy
I
Meets
think the
World.
biggest memories that people have, like I think you can be nostalgic for season 1 because
Yeah.
it's got a vibe. But when you're talking to people about Boy Meets World episodes, they're gonna start remembering. They're gonna start quoting and remembering like seasons 3 and beyond when it was just
Yeah.
like off
I would agree.
the fucking track, crazy.
Yeah.
Like
It's so fucking good.
like it was so strange. And this was a show in the DVD days
Yep.
where I'm not sure if you followed any of this drama. When it first came out, we were getting like these
Yep.
slipcover ones. And after season 3, like that was the thing. They were like, it's not selling well enough.
Yeah.
And so they stopped releasing them
Yep.
right on season 3, which was right before what was like the
Switch.
golden
Yeah,
age.
like, yeah.
So what ends up happening is it's like we had to wait like a
It
decade
was a very long
for a
time.
different company to buy the rights, and then they re-release the first 3 on DVD
Yep.
very
In
quickly.
regular clamshell cases.
Yeah, and then you get like the cover, like the classic Boy Meets World, like on the DVDs, and these are like it's kind of a bummer because these are completely stripped down. Like seasons 1 and 2 have like commentary tracks and shit on them, and those are like long gone. Similar thing happened with the Muppets.
Yeah.
The Muppets is a 5-season show that we only ever got the first 3 seasons on DVD, and the sales weren't impressive enough by season 3, so they just stopped. Which is like literally until Disney Plus put the Muppet Show on, I never saw
Seasons
the
4 and 5.
season
like,
4 and 5. Like I couldn't find them anywhere. And I still hold out hope. It happened like season 4. There's like box art and special features out there. Like it was produced similarly to the 3rd and final season of Pete and Pete. Like
Yeah.
the actors who play Pete and Pete say all the time, like there is literally a warehouse in New Jersey that is just filled with season 3 Pete and Pete DVDs that they just chose to not ship because
That's wild.
they're like, it's going to cost us more money to ship these than what we'll make back on people buying them. And I'm like, then fucking throw them online somewhere so
what
people
did
can
they
just
do? Did they just
hit-
burn them? Like,
No, he said they're just there. They're just like sitting in a warehouse, like collecting dust. Like I would still, it's like if you put them, say, hey, guess what? Order online, $20. We'll send you the 3rd season of Pete and Pete. I would fucking order it in a second because that's another show that's not really streaming anywhere.
No.
Like, but anyway, my point being, I enjoyed watching this. I had fun. I love Boy Meets World, and I can't wait for us to dive into some of these other Boy Meets World. Is it Christmas? Maybe it's Christmas. It's kind of Christmas. Ooh, that's really sad. That's an orphan child
Those are-
episodes.
Yeah. God, I fucking love Boy Meets World. It's such a good show that I just, yeah, I need to watch this from the beginning, but not like an active watch, like a background watch. Just throw it on. I
Well,
fucking love Boy Meets World.
Dylan, you are absolutely the Sean to my Corey.
Aww, I love being the Sean to your Corey.
Oh, whoa, now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holly, have a great, great, great holly, have a merry, 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 happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.